Don't you hate wrestling with predictability? The garbage man, the sexy boy, boring ass TV? How did I get to work in here? Somebody tell me, please. The WWF is confusing to me. With Vince as mean as you've ever seen. I told old Patterson I'm done here in June. When a sudden voice inside me whispered, Vinny, don't sell your dream so soon. And everywhere I look, there's a Ted with a hand to hold on to. And everywhere I look, there's a place and a promotion who needs you. And it's there you'll book when you're lost out there and you're all alone. And WCW's waiting to carry you home. It's there you'll book. And it's there I'll book. A doobity-ba-ba-ba, headed to Atlanta and listen to this podcast. It's all right, even though it fucking makes fun of everything I've ever done. Backbone Wrestling Network. Welcome back to episode 34 of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? I'm Scott Shiflett. Joining me as always is the backbone of the backbone, Logan Crossland. Logan, how are you doing this evening?
I have Russo'd out of my chair, so I'm here tonight. We're probably going to want to throw Russo out of his chair at the end of the show, but we'll get to it.
I think I want to throw him off of the building, Logan, or maybe into a dumpster like we see later in the show.
Mm-hmm.
When we're gonna get to it, but when I didn't realize how bad the burial of Billy Kidman was, but it's awful. This is gonna make him look something bad coming out of this.
It's literally trash.
To what it should have been. Yeah, it is trash. This isn't talked about more. I knew about the matches and him whooping his ass at Spring Stampede and other times. No one ever talks about this. I was flabbergasted, Logan. Like I said, we'll get to it, but I was just blown away. But, we're in the throes of football season, recording this October 2025. Just happy with football right now. I mean, I woke up still mad that Washington lost to the Bears. So hopefully whenever, if someone's listening later, hopefully good things happen. If not, it was a harbinger of things to come. But speaking of the Bears, this was in Rockford, Illinois. I'm not sure how close to Chicago that was, but pretty close. So we open the show. We see highlights from WCW Magazine, from little stills from Spring Stampede. We see security locking the doors and saying that no one's getting in. And by the no one, they mean the Millionaires Club. Russo and Bischoff say Nitro is invited, is just guest only tonight, and the Millionaire Club is not invited to Nitro. And then we have confetti and balloons falling from the ceiling. They're all red, but it's a ridiculous amount of confetti and balloons falling. It's fucking comical, Logan.
It is absurd.
As Russo and Russo and New Blood make their way to the ring. But the only people in the New Blood were just the champs, except for Jarrett. They got security coming down from the ring. My note here is so many fucking balloons. How many you think balloons are, just double it in your head. That's how much you get in confetti. You'll see confetti the rest of the night if you're watching the show. Russo says, cut the music, and says, you can boo all you want. It doesn't change the fact that I'm better than you. Russo says, this is a New York party. And he introduces all the champs. And Russo says, Chris, I told you there'd be sunny days ahead. Russo says, franchise and Buff Bagwell beat Slick Dick in the small package. Then he says, Big Papa Pump is the new U.S. champ. Russo says the hardcore title got away from the New Blood, but that will change tonight. Says Funk isn't part of the New Blood or the Millionaires Club. He's just too damn old, bro. But it's so loud with people popping balloons, it's hard to hear him. Like, it takes away from it with the popping of the balloons. That's how bad it is. And then Russo does one of his shoot things where he talks about a crotchety old man who wears a black cowboy hat. He says, this old man did everything he could to keep my next guest down. Says he can kiss his ass, and he welcomes the world champ Jeff Jarrett out. Jeff Jarrett comes out. Mark Madden says WWF tried to keep Jeff down, and now they can't keep him down. Jeff says, cut the music and don't ever doubt me ever again. Says you are all eating it. Jeff said, outside the day his child was born, this is the greatest day of his life. Jeff straight up says that JR can kiss his ass. And speaking of asses, that brings me to DDP. Jeff offers DDP an opportunity. Jeff says he was pissed off that he wasn't asked to be in Ready to Rumble, but he says the 3-tiered cage from the movie, it's going to be used at Slamboree, and I'm dying inside, Logan, because I know what's to come. Jeff says he's going to slap his nut from the bottom to the top of the cage. Jeff says DDP will have to grab the prize of the title. Russo interrupts and says, speaking of prizes, and says this man grabbed the biggest prize last night and brings out Eric Bischoff. Eric and Kimberly come out. They allude to, the announcers allude to Thunder with DDP and Kimberly having issues, which was like very alluded to very slowly. Not a lot, just like she was perturbed with him about interrupting the match. But anyway, that's where they're going with this. Eric gets on the mic and says he has so much fun seeing Jeff win last night. Jeff says, DDP, I told you last week, I made you and I can break you. Eric says torturing DDP is fun for him. And Eric says, like Kim is he starts saying icing, but he's like, no, the whipped cream on his cake. Kimberly gets on the mic and says she's sorry for hitting him with a guitar and how she blew off an 11-year relationship. She says the marriage and everything has been on DD me. Kimberly said she has been in his shadow, that DDP didn't try to elevate her. Kim says DDP knows that Kimberly is really the star. I have a side note here that says she really can't cut a promo to save her life. It's Correct. Embarrassing, especially with Sonny in the room. In the ring, it's bad. But then Kim continues on and says she had to say no to every opportunity because DDP said so. I mean, she was in Playboy, so someone said yes tonight. And she said from last night on, this little girl right here, pointing to herself, is worried about Kimberly. She says her opportunity is right beside her, talking about Eric. Eric thanks Russo for throwing the party. We see DDP showing up backstage in a car outside the arena. Security says he can't get in. DDP says he doesn't give a rat's ass and beats down security. He's in the arena and walks out to the aisleway, and he goes down in the ring and he slides in the ring and he takes out the New Blood. Then the numbers take over. Then the people in the Riot Squad starts beating down the New Blood. They take off their helmets to reveal they are Ric Flair, Lex Luger, and Sting. And Tony says it shows the Millionaires Club aren't going to take the New Blood laying down, which I'm not going to lie, Logan. I know it felt like you were probably having flashbacks to Impact for Highway. The last 5 minutes when DDP got in the ring and it showed the New Blood had been outsmarted by the Millionaires Club, I really liked. It shows that, like, hey, these guys are going to have some fight, but it just took too fucking long to get to the point. Like, the patting on the back didn't have to be done. You could have just started with everyone in the ring. And the balloons, they probably thought it'd be a good visual. I mean, that visual scene of like the all the confetti and stuff coming down with Russo when it's used in like a derogatory term with him, like when they're like, "Look what he did." So like that was bad, but like they should have just started with everyone in the ring, them celebrate and say it was a good night. They didn't have to get the JR shit, because if I was listening, I'd be like, "Oh, why don't I look what's WWF doing instead of what that?" You get what I'm saying? Instead of like them talking about it. It does them no good, in my opinion. But what did you think of that whole angle? Looks like DDP's feuding with like 4 people now.
Yeah, I mean, it makes him look like little brother. I know they weren't for a little while. They were killing him in the ratings and stuff like that, but kind of punching down or punching up now at WWE. It was kind of not worth it when they were punching down at him either. But especially now that they're losing and losing pretty badly, um, it's not a good look for sure. But yeah, just way too long. This is like the you know people talk about how shitty 20 the 2010s Raws are about opening with a long promo, like the Triple H extended long promo. This was like the first evolution of that. So um, it just went on and on and on and on. But I mean, I did like the general message. It kind of push things forward with the New Blood and Millionaires Club still kind of going at it. Obviously, DDP is a big part of it, and like you said, it seems like he's feuding with like 4 or 5 different people. But I did make the note that TNA legend Cassidy Riley was the security guard that got in DDP's face as soon as he got to the arena. So a Cassidy Riley appearance I was not expecting to see. So there is that. I'm assuming the rest of the security guys were just power plant guys, but I definitely recognized him from obviously doing Highway and going through that. So definitely wanted to point that out. But pretty cool and kind of stupid at the same time that the Millionaires Club guys were the riot gear, because why did they not just attack sooner? Because I mean, there's still 3 of them, and they still had weapons and stuff like that. But I get they wanted for their full, squad to be there and all that. But yeah, just way too long. Could have been cut in half and been just as effective.
Yeah, I totally agree. But Russo had to get his. He probably thought this was the greatest thing ever, bro, and it really wasn't. It was a pretty cool visual with all the red stuff falling down for the New Blood, but then when they're popping fucking balloons for 5 minutes, and I can't even.
I was gonna say the sound of poof 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 while Russo's trying to talk was really funny.
Yeah, any listener here, go out of your way and try to find the 4/17/2000. You can just watch the opening segment of the show because we'll go over the rest here. But it's just I had AirPods in when I was watching it on my tablet, and it was like, and I was like,
you were like, what the fuck's
fuck
going on?
is going on? Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing, Logan. I paused it to make sure something wasn't happening outside my house, and I'm like, nope, it's just them popping fucking balloons.
Yep. And by the way, Rockford is an hour and a half from Chicago. Just to tie that loose end up.
It's all the same. Fuck Chicago right now. Since they beat Washington. I'm kidding. I love you, Chicago. I visited there earlier this year. Could see myself living there, to be honest. But anyway, so we go to commercial break. We come back and we see the highlights of DDP beating down security, and Eric is yelling at Lash, Bam Bam, Hugh Morris, Chavo Guerrero. For some reason, Jerry Flynn and Booker asking where they were and why they didn't have their back. Booker says, what do you need us for? They were all champions. Eric calls Booker a joke and says he's tired of him and his attitude. Eric says Booker has a short period of time to get on his good side, and he kicks everyone out. Eric then says, let's get Mike Awesome to kick Paige's ass now. Security guards come in and yell at Eric, say this is not what they signed up for, so they quit. And then somehow we can hear fucking phone conversations because Eric says, what else can go wrong? And Hulk calls him, and we hear Hulk's conversation that's supposed to be in Eric's ear that he's going to be kicking his ass in about 5 minutes. I don't know how we heard that. And Mark and Tony talk about the dissension in the New Blood already, which I feel like, of course, Vince Russo is speed running the shit. Should have been a month or 2 instead of literally a fucking week, Logan. But people are upset in the New Blood that some people have titles and others don't, where it's the fuck else? But it's just so dumb. But yeah, I love how phones work, Logan. I know when I take phone calls, I make sure no one can fucking hear it. So I'm not one of these dickheads that walk around Kroger or something, FaceTiming people real loud, which I know I'm getting old. I just think that's fucking rude. So here's what I do, Logan. I've told you this before, but I'm going to tell the listening audience. If I see someone FaceTiming or on a speakerphone call and we're in public, I just scream out shit. I just scream it out.
That's an effective way to do it. I did have a phone at one point that I couldn't take like calls regularly, so I did have to put it on speakerphone. So if I ever did that around you, I didn't do it on purpose. It was because I didn't have any other choice. But yeah, that is quite annoying. It's not as bad. I think you can put it on speakerphone. You've just got to turn the volume down, because when you have it on like full blast, full bore, in the middle of a public place, it's just like you have no regard for anyone around you.
Nope, fuck them. Everyone has AirPods now or some type of headphones. I just put your fucking AirPods in. Just fucking pop them in. You can have the conversation that way, and you'll still be talking on the phone. But I should not be hearing what Shayna is saying to her cousin Joe in fucking Kroger while I'm trying to fucking shop. Pisses off Emily when I do it, but she knows what she signed up for, Logan.
Yes, she does.
So this leads us to our first match, which is not Hulk Hogan versus Eric Bischoff's ass like I've been promised multiple times, but Sean, the Perfect One Stasiak versus Kurt Hennig. Also, let's not forget Sean Stasiak's horrible debut last week where he couldn't even do a special move on Kurt, which they have not shown. And Miss Hancock walks down the ring and is taking notes during this time. During the match, Kurt starts the match and he gets an arm drag and they circle each other. Then he gets a hip toss and Sean gets some punches. And then he sends Kurt in the turnbuckle and then he gets a hip toss and then a slam. Kurt rolls out of the ring to stop the momentum. We go back to Miss Hancock taking notes, which is, something I enjoy watching. And then Kurt pulls Sean out of the ring and starts chopping him. He slams him onto the guardrail. Kurt chops Sean on the announce table. Kurt's opened up water and he throws it on Mark. So Mark's like, what the hell did I do? Which I thought was pretty funny. Kurt throws Sean in the ring, but when Kurt slides in, Sean's on his feet and attacks him. Sean hits a suplex and gets one. Kurt reverses an Irish whip and gets a knee lift. And then Kurt goes to hit a clothesline, but he hits Sean and the ref for some reason. Kurt gets the Henningplex on Sean, but no ref. Kurt gets the ref up. Sean gets brass knucks out, and he takes out Kurt. Sean picks up the ref and hits an F5, but it's called the Perfect Plant, and that's over. And after the match, Sean attacks Kurt after the match, and I'll stop after that, Logan. This was just a nothing match. Still not impressed at all with Sean Stasiak. I don't foresee that changing.
Yeah, the finish not quite as botched as it was the previous week, but it was still pretty bad. It still didn't look snug, still didn't look good. I thought he was pretty mid at best. Totally shocked that there was a ref bump in this match. I'm surprised in a Russo book show that there's a ref bump in the first match. Stunning, I know. Definitely interesting to see Miss Hancock out there, because I don't particularly remember her getting involved with either of these guys going forward. I may be wrong, but I don't think she ends up with either of them. But they had the blue Nitro mat tonight in the ring. I don't know if we've had that before. Can't remember. Didn't pay attention previously, I guess. But if there's a symbol of the end of times for WCW, it is the blue ring mat for WCW in these Nitros, because that signals the beginning of the end for me of this company, because I kind of just associate that with like the end. So I definitely have that thought when I saw that going into this match.
Well, that's heartbreaking. I mean, we know it's coming. Like it's been dead for 25 years, but yeah, it's heartbreaking. So if that's what he was trying to do last Monday was at F5, he royally fucking botched that move, Logan. Because we couldn't figure out what it was.
Like I said, it still didn't look good this week. But it looked better, without a doubt.
I could make out the move this time, Logan. Like I had no idea. So after the match, we see a motorcade, and the cops stop Hogan as he's about to get in the arena, but Hogan just says, "That don't work for me, brother." And the cops just say, "All right, Mr. Hogan, go on in." And he's in all black, and he has a black bandana. Hogan goes in the ring. For some reason, Sean's still beating down Kurt. Hogan's like, I gotta whoop another young person's ass tonight. Throws Sean out of the ring and helps up Kurt, which I did think was kind of nice because it shows all the Millionaires Club are quote unquote together, even though Kurt's not supposed to be in the Millionaires Club. But Hogan's all over this fucking show. Just an FYI.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add to that, or?
No, I mean it was just funny that the the cops just so easily gave up when he came into the arena. Like they were like, "We can't let you in, Mr. Hogan," and then they basically just looked at him with like the evil eye, and they kind of just stepped out of the way and said, "Go on now." But other than
That's
that, yeah,
exactly what happened.
like you said, he's all over the show, and we'll obviously get to more of it, but he definitely is a focal point without a doubt.
Yeah, it's not good. So we come back from commercial break. Hogan's still in the ring and has the mic. He says he wants to clear a couple things up. He said he listened to what fans have said about Hulkamania living forever and critics saying Hulk Hogan is getting older. Hogan says he is, but so is everyone else. Hogan says the critics are saying he's losing a step or two. Hogan says he's lost a half a step. He's lost a lot of steps. Hogan says he still has something to offer the wrestling business, and Hogan says it's about his spot that they want. He says someone wants to take it, come out and get their ass kicked. Hogan says what Eric and Vince pulled at Nitro and Spring Stampede, they are messing with the man Terry Bollea. He says Terry Bollea has more heart than anyone, but Hulk Hogan has the bigger dick. Just adding that last part in. He didn't say that part. But he said if anyone wants his spot, he's here until someone kicks his ass and runs him out. He then talks about Kidman, says he's listened to Billy cry and whine, how he wants the big push, says Billy makes him sick, says if Billy wants a spot, come out and take it. He tells Kidman to get his ass out here. Billy gets on Nitro Vision and says to come back to the back and fight me. Hogan starts running backstage, and then we pan out more, and we see that Billy is backstage with Tori and Eric and the Hummer in like a garage, underground garage. So that's where they're at. That leads us to a commercial break. This was just Hogan turning into FUNB, Terry Bollea. Like I said, like a ripoff of Stone Cold. It's not a good look, but what do you expect?
Yeah, just trying to stay relevant, trying to seem cool, despite the fact that he's probably like the uncoolest person in the wrestling business at this point. I guess I say that, but people still cheer for him and pop hard, and he's one of the more overacts, unfortunately, at this point. But just poor Kidman. Just the beginning of a long night for him.
Yeah, it sucks. Just poor Kidman. There's nothing to say. Just poor Kidman. So we get the commercial break, and Hogan is outside yelling for Kidman, and keeps calling him, "Where's that son of a bitch at?" Jeff's with Mean Gene, and Jeff says he sees the new blood guys crying about opportunity. Says he's going to put an open contract up for tonight for any new blood person to challenge him. He tells Gene to choke on that, you Jurassic slap ass. This is more of like the new blood like dissension, which I feel is like a month or two too early. He should be like, if DDP really wants a rematch tonight, he'll have to go through like Booker or Jerry Flynn or something, something we've already seen, instead of like just giving him the rematch automatically when he's not entitled to one. It's not like he won the title, Logan. It's just dumb. But this is just setting up. Russo just goes about shit ass backwards. Like that's all it is. Like,
yeah, without
it's
a
frustrating.
Doubt. It's definitely weird to see a heel kind of offer
even
just open contract for a match right after winning the title. You would think he would take a few weeks off or something like that, but definitely a strange kind of way of going about it.
And then it makes him look like a pussy the rest of the night because he's trying to get out of it.
Yeah. Seemed very confident going into it, but then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not sure about that."
Yeah. All right, so this leads us to match 2, which is a hardcore title match, which is the Wall versus Terry Funk. Tony talks about Hulk calling himself Terry Bollea. We see Dustin Rhodes being fired. Both men stare each other down, and Terry starts hitting the wall with the chair, hitting Wall with the chair in the head 3 times. Wall kicks Terry and then throws him out of the ring. Wall grabs the chair and is about to hit Funk, but Funk hit Wall in the nuts and starts beating Wall with the chair again. Funk moonsaults from the ring to the outside, but Wall was out of position and Terry ate shit. It was pretty brutal, guys. Like, it looked bad. Like, he's too old to be doing that shit. Wall and Funk get up, and Wall hits his big boot. Wall beats Funk with the chair. Wall slams Funk head first into the announce table. They get on the table, and Wall pile drives Funk through the table, on the table, because it didn't break. That's probably just a rough 45 seconds for Terry Funk right there. Wall drags Terry, and Wall hits Terry with a chair again. Wall throws Funk into the guardrail, and they battle in the aisleway. Wall sandwiches Funk between two guardrails, which looked pretty disgusting. They fight to the WCW live set. Funk is muted for cursing at Wall. He calls him like a son of a bitch and a motherfucker, I'm pretty sure, but he's muted. And then like they have like these tables stacked up on like a stack of tables, and you literally see like the production guy push it. Like he's like, "Oh, I got to get ready for my spot," but I don't think it's supposed to be a production person. But someone pushes all these tables on the wall, and they break, and then Terry pins the wall, and that's the match. Like our boy got jobbed out, Logan, and I don't really like it. I mean, he dominated the whole match, but like some flimsy thing, which they were like, someone must have pushed it. So like we'll have to see. I mean, knowing Russo is probably not followed up on, but yeah, Funk just lives to fight another day as WCW Hardcore Champion.
Yeah, I can assure you it's not going to be followed up on. I mean, I don't know, obviously, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably just was a complete accident, and it's not going to be attributed to anyone. But yeah, this was just an excuse to have Funk out there to get his ass kicked. That's what this hardcore title reign is going to be. He's going to be out there to just take the bulk of the object shots, and just get thrown around and destroyed like the old bag of bones that he is. But he's going to somehow win most of the time. Obviously, I think he's eventually going to lose the title at some point, but for a while at least, I think he's going to just take some ass beatings and somehow end up on top at the end. But yes, sad to see the Wall get jobbed out in a match like this. I feel like he should be in a bigger primer spot, which he might have been if Sid had hung around, but obviously Sid's not there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, Sid fucked the Wall on that one, Logan. Because that was obviously going to be a feud, because all the feuds that we saw start up continue tonight. And we'll get to that. But we go backstage and we see Brian Clark and Brian Adams walking into Vince's office, and they say he's a hard guy to find. Says they're ready for their title match, the tag titles. Russo says it's not a good time for the title match. They close the door and they say they don't give a damn about his problems, not letting him out. Russo says, "You'll get the title shot when I say so." Russo leaves the office, and the two Bryans look pissed. And then we see Jeff Jarrett's open contract, and we see that someone has signed it. We go to commercial break. Jeff sees it, tears it off, and says he's an idiot. So I thought it was Norman Smiley, to be honest, Logan. So we'll do this last segment, and I'll have your thoughts on everything else. Then Mean Gene's with DDP, and he talks about having a match with Mike Awesome. DDP says whatever, and he says after last night, I'm pissed off. DDP says Eric and him aren't over by a long shot. DDP says he's going to leave Awesome laying and will tear him a new ass. So a lot of ass-based offense when these guys talk to each other. But real interesting, they're trying to say that Brian Clark and Brian Adams aren't part of the New Blood, which is shocking to me because I thought what they were going to get comes later, but that's obviously not the case. We see that someone has the open contract. Who did you think was the open contract?
I honestly really didn't know. I mean, I think I know where the title picture kind of goes going forward. So I thought it might be like a workaround to get like somebody that's not actually in the New Blood, the title shot or whatever. But I really had no clue. I thought it might have been Booker, just because of like the kind of the tiff up earlier with him and Bischoff, but it definitely wasn't. Who it ends up being is definitely not who I thought it was for sure.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, like you said, kind of interesting to see Chronic kind of not in the New Blood, based on the fact that they're kind of guys that have never been, especially Brian Clark with the whole RAF push earlier in his career, kind of got derailed by the Millionaires Club kind of guys. So I could see him really having a New Blood way of thinking and kind of stuff like that. But Brian Adams was in NWO for a long time, so he probably made it pretty good and got paid pretty well for basically doing nothing in that group for a long time. But And then a lot of threatening of ass beating or ass, just force of some way or another. DDP does it a lot. Hogan seems to want specifically Eric Bischoff's ass and wants to do things to it. So definitely a lot of threatening of asses in this promotion during this time.
Yeah, ass-based offense.
Mm-hmm.
So this leads us to what I thought was match 3, but this never takes place. As we see the Mamalukes are in the ring, and then we flash back and we see the Bryans beating down the Harris Dolts, which I'm happy with.
Thank
and we
God.
were told it was supposed to be Harris Brothers versus Mamalukes for the number 1 contender. The Bryans take over for the Harris Bros, and this match 3 never happens. As the Bryans both slide in, they all start brawling, and then the Bryans get on the offense and they hit a full Nelson. Brian Adams hits a full Nelson slam on Vito. Brian Clark hits the rock bottom on Johnny the Bull. Tony actually name drops them as Chronic, so I'm calling him Chronic now. I was waiting for that official name. Just saw Chronic. Brian Adams hits an F5 on Vito. Somehow I've seen that twice in 15 minutes. Brian Clark hits a meltdown, aka the pump handle slam on Johnny the Bull. And then they hit their double choke slam on Vito and then hit one on Johnny the Bull as well. Brian Clark gets on the mic and says, Vince Russo, this is a message to you. We both worked for you before, and you don't want us working against you. Brian Clark says WWE badasses in the back are scared since Chronic has showed up. Brian says they will feel chronic pain, take a chronic beating, have a chronic nightmare, and then threatens Russo again. So I will say, I hate that our boys, the Mamalukes, all the people that we liked are getting their ass beat tonight, Logan. First the Wall, and now Mamalukes. I mean, it was a pretty effective debut. I'm glad they're not really aligned with the New Blood. Like, obviously, spoiler alert, guys, it turns into like an APA, fucking great value APA, except for without the charisma. But like I forgot them trying to force the chronic into their catchphrase, like a chronic beating, all that stuff. But it was pretty good. It was pretty good ass whooping and very, very effective.
Yeah, Brian Adams showed us exactly right here why he never got pushed very, very, very much further than he did. It almost feels like he just doesn't know when the promo is supposed to end, because I felt like he said, something, and that could have been the end of the promo, but then he kept going, and then he did it again and again and again, and I'm like, man, he should have just stopped after he did the chronic thing at the end, but then he said something after that, and it's like, just shut up, man. You had a pretty effective promo going there, but you just kept going. As far as an act so far, in the 2 appearances I feel like we have seen him in, I think what they do, obviously, on offense, obviously this isn't a match, but they do a pretty good beat down here. So this is definitely one of the highlights of the show for me. I thought I was really impressed with the beating that they kind of threw down on the Mamalukes, and even the Harris boys in the backstage. So as far as an in-ring product so far, I'm pretty okay with it, and could be really interested in it going forward. But yeah, I hate to see the Mamalukes kind of go down, but a pretty effective beat down. But a promo that maybe, if Adams could have cut it off a few words shorter, he probably could have had a little bit more of effective way of going about things.
Yeah, I agree. Like he had like the great tenacity to it, but like he said, he just kept talking, and it kind of ruined it.
He's definitely better than he was earlier in his career, I would say, because it just felt so unnatural what he was saying. But this actually felt kind of natural. But like I said, he just kind of kept going when he didn't need to.
Yeah, it was like those old Energizer Buddy commercials. Keep going and go. That might be before your time, Logan. But
no, I remember.
Yeah, I just showed my age with that one. Okay, good. So so after this, the announce team tries to figure out. I know, but I was like,
no, you're good.
I mean, it felt kind of. I felt I was kind of young to remember it, so I was just like, yeah, real bad. Now people these days are like, what's a commercial? And it's like, shut the fuck up, Gen Alpha. So the announcers are trying to figure out who signed the open contract. They talk about how Jeff is basically scared and shook. Vampiro's music hits and he comes out. He says he has to come to send a message to his brother in paint. literally when he stops talking, someone screams out "loser," which I'm pretty sure is Matt Souza in a fucking time machine, because I laughed so hard. I don't know if you caught that, Logan. He's like, "I'm here to send a message to my brother in paint," and someone screams "loser."
Amazing.
It was amazing. So speaking of people that can't really cut a promo and starts talking in circles, Vampiro says Sting knows nothing about pain, and it says what happened between us when, with all their stuff, and says, and only you know what happened between us when he drug him down on the ring. Says Sting still doesn't know about pain. Vamp says he drew Sting's blood and he smelled all of Sting's fear. So I guess he's trying to say that Sting pissed his pants. He said that was last night, and tonight is just the beginning. Said he allowed himself a taste so he can save the rest for Slamboree. He says he will devour him and show him to walk around with his humanity stripped. Vamp says he will drag Sting to the depths of hell. Sting's music hits and the power goes and the lights go out. Sting drops from the ceiling. Looks like he was going a little too fast, Logan, because he hit a little scary. Sting drops from the ceiling. Vamp looks like a moron, where he looks around at Sting for like 5 seconds, then decides to run at him. And then Sting grabs Vampiro and says, "Vamp, you look like someone walked over your grave, boy." Sting says he feels the destruction and beats down Vamp with the bat. Sting, still holding the microphone, says, "You don't think I know everything about pain," and keeps beating him down. Says he learned from the best like Flair and Luger and just keeps swinging the bat. Sting says he will grow up quick. You will grow up quick around here, boy, and then hits the Scorpion Death Drop. Sting says WCW runs through his veins and says it's my turf, and then he leaves. This was just a straight ass whooping, Logan. Like, I was like, God damn. I was shocked. Like, I guess this is like the part of the thing for the night of like, hey, you know, the Millionaires Club's getting back at all these people. But like, Vampiro's promo kind of sucked. And then he looked like a moron waiting like for Sting to get unhooked. But the beatdown was pretty fucking savage. Even Tony's like, damn, I haven't seen Sting like be this savage in a while. What says you, buddy?
Yeah, he beat the shit out of him, but yeah, Vampiro's promo was really, really bad. Not shocking to see maybe why.
You feel pain, Logan? You feel pain, Logan? You feel pain?
I did feel pain in the way of cringing watching this promo. He was doing this like crouch thing too, like he was talking into the mic while we're obviously on video, but you can only hear me because this is an audio podcast. But he was doing like this crouching thing. He was talking into the mic while he was like holding it, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, man? Just stand up and cut a promo." He was like Ricky Bobby, like he didn't know what to do with his hands or whatever. But yeah, he looks like an absolute dolt when Sting comes down and has to get like the carabiners off him, and he just like turns around and acts like he can't see him or whatever. But yeah, this did not make Vamp look good, which his promo was really bad beforehand, so it kind of doesn't matter. But yeah, Sting really beats his ass. So yeah, not. I mean, if you're trying to get Vampiro over in any way, this did not do so. This did not do so, Russo.
Yeah. I guess he was trying. That was good. I guess he was trying to. He was trying to look like a spider or something. It's the only thing I can think of.
But like, isn't he supposed to be like a? I don't know. I feel like he's supposed to be like a, not a zombie, but like a. I don't know. I don't really know. I really don't.
Yeah, so it was rough. So we have a commercial break and we just see what happened. We see Hogan still looking for Kidman. This place must be a fucking labyrinth, which is funny because Russo made the joke at Spring Stampede. This place is only so big. Like all these other places are the same size. And someone points like he went that way, and Hogan takes off. And then we see Jeff bitching to Russo about the open contract. Jeff says the boy's sick and says, "Russo, you got to do something about this." Russo says he'll take care of it. Then we hear DDP's music hits. This leads us to actual match 3, which is DDP versus Mike Awesome. Awesome charges the ring, and DDP dodges an awesome punch and starts punching himself, and it's a clothesline. DDP punches Mike into the corner, and DDP Irish whips Awesome into the corner, but then Awesome, when he, instead of running to the turnbuckle, he jumped on the middle rope and hit a bat spring elbow, which was pretty dope. They got a 2 count. Awesome tried a hip toss, but DDP reversed it into a DDT for 2. I actually thought it was a diamond cutter, Logan. I was like, Jesus Christ, they're really burying Awesome here, but it was just a DDT. For 2, Awesome, they both get up. Awesome dodges a clothesline, hits one of his own. That gets 2. DDP hits a Uranagi, and that gets 2. They're both on their feet, slugging it out, and Mike Awesome knocks DDP out of the ring. And Mike Awesome hits a springboard clothesline to DDP from the outside. He jumped up on the top rope and hit a clothesline to the outside of the ring. It has to be seen to believe. I had to stop myself. I paused the match right there because I was like, holy shit, this is insane. So he really was Mike Awesome RIP was a big man that could fucking move. I think he just destroyed his brain with all those chair shots, sadly. But it was just amazing. And then Mike threw DDP into a guardrail and missed a dive and a splash into DDP. DDP actually hits Mike with a chair times 2, and no DQ is called. Mike kicks a chair into DDP and then clotheslines him back out of the ring because they worked their way into the ring right now. And then the refs were like, there's going to be no DQs called now. The refs got more leniency. That was when DDP was hitting Mike Awesome with the chair. So then 30 seconds later, Canyon comes down and starts fighting Mike Awesome. The ref's like, I've had enough. Calls for a fucking DQ. Which, spoiler alert, the last 3 matches tonight fucking ended DQs, despite them not saying there's no more DQs. That's like me saying, Logan, I'm done doing podcasts. Oh, nope, got one coming out tomorrow, guys. So it's just so dumb. I'm gonna go after the post match real quick. Mike Awesome straight up kills Canyon with a released German suplex. It looked amazing. Canyon folded up like a fucking accordion. DDP still getting his ass beat, still laying on the outside of the ring. So Mike grabs a table and puts it in the ring. He sets up the table and is about to powerbomb Canyon through it, but the Wolfpack music hits and Awesome turns towards Nitro Vision. And then we see Nash come up from behind and he actually beats down Awesome. He power bombs him through the table. Nash does the suck it to Awesome, and then he celebrates, and he's looking very good for someone who was on crutches last week, Logan. Moving pretty good. I'm interested to see if this match actually takes place. I have no recollection of it. But yeah, this was actually a pretty fun match. Not saying much, but match of the night so far. I'm really impressed with Mike Awesome. I know his WCW career doesn't do much, and then WWF even less, but I'm interested to see his in-ring stuff because I know the Extreme Three-Way Dance loved him because we're sort of in tandem with each other right now. Yeah. And they loved his matches and everything. So I'm really interested to see if we're going to enjoy his matches as much as they did.
Yeah, I think he's really talented in ring. I think he's another one of those kind of he's probably a little better than Vampiro, but he's another one of those like Vampiro that I don't think he just quite has the mic skills to kind of hang with these main eventer kind of guys, especially somebody like Nash. If you're going to throw him in there with Nash, he has no chance to kind of hang with him on the mic. But he's really talented in ring. You can watch any of his ECW stuff. You can watch some of his Japan stuff. He's just really he's really good at the wrestling thing. But yeah, definitely a match of the night. Like you said, Awesome pulled out some really amazing stuff that a guy his size should not be able to do. Yeah, and it's good to see. I think Canyon came back at another point too, but it's good to see Canyon back, get him involved. Glad that he's not Champagne Canyon anymore and he can just be himself. And obviously Nash does the deed and jackknifes him through Awesome through the table to kind of end the segment. I'm interested to see. I'm kind of like you. I'm interested to see if that match ever happens, because I think it could be a disaster, but I also think it could be fun at the same time.
Yeah, because as I've told people, this is a hole in my memory. I was not watching a lot of WCW at this time. I think ironically, we took a family reunion trip to Texas this summer. Which is a whole nother story within itself. Just if there was a camera filming my family, we'd be rich now, Logan, for the fucking National Lampoon type vacation that was. But I randomly put on Thunder while there because I was tired of talking with everyone, and I watched a random Thunder before New Blood Rising, which we'll get to probably 18 years from now. But that's like the only thing I watched at WCW that summer. Really, was just that. Like, it's like I was basically out for a little bit, which is weird saying. So I got back in like in October, November. So it's just interesting. But yeah, we go backstage and we see Russo talking to someone and saying Jeff was just playing around with the contract. It wasn't really open. And then we see Tank walking backstage. Madden is scared shitless. We have a commercial break. We got Buff and Shane with Mean Gene. Buff says if he sees a Millionaire Club one more time, I'm sick of it. Buff says Luger's going down at Slamboree. Shane says Flair is accepted at Slamboree, so there'll be 2 singles matches at Slamboree. Slamboree's shaping up to be a pretty good card, Logan, with the first 4 matches that have been announced with DDP versus Jeff Jarrett in the Triple Cage, Sting versus Vampiro, Buff versus Luger, and Shane versus Ric Flair. I mean, I will give Russo credit for that. He usually waits to the last minute. I mean, that's what Bischoff was famous for, was not announcing matches besides like the main event matches. So there we go. And then Shane says he's pissed about the jackass Lex Luger. Shane says he will take care of Luger tonight. Luger comes in and says, "You are nothing happening, punks." And he says, "You got the match tonight, but if Russo interferes, they'll lose the tag titles." Shane accepts and says, "Nothing happening, but he says nothing happening, but that he's going to happen all over his ass tonight." So another ass play pun, Logan. That's the one I sent you for my notes because I did that verbatim. So yeah, it looks like they're like, oh, we got 30 minutes left and we have done nothing for the main event besides like Jeff Jarrett versus the mystery opponent. Let's add in another match because there's only been 3 matches tonight. What'd you think of that segment before I get into this Tank Abbott bullshit?
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Like you said, they've set up quite a few matches like straight out the gate to kind of build towards a pay-per-view. So good to see them kind of getting a hot start on that instead of, like you said, kind of doing the classic WCW thing where you really only build like 2 or 3 matches and then you just kind of throw a bunch of cruiserweights and random mid-carders on the card just to fill it out and stuff like that. So, but yeah, obviously Russo trying to backtrack out of him and Jarrett trying to backtrack out of the world title match that they signed themselves up for is pretty stupid. But yeah, so far Slamboree's looking not too terrible.
No, it's looking pretty good so far. We'll have to see what clusterfuck that turns into. So Tank Abbott comes down and Madden is terrified. And Tank gets on the mic and says, "Don't look at me, fat ass," to Madden. And they pan to Madden and he's looking away. Tank calls Goldberg out again. Tank says he shows up. Someone wants a piece of me and they get hurt. So that's how he does a fight. Tank says until Goldberg shows up, he's going to keep beating up innocent people and says that this one is on you. He starts walking over the announce team. They all bail and run away. He walks around and grabs Bruce McArthur, who's the owner of the Blackhawks, and actually carries him into the ring, is about to pile drive him, but then some NHL enforcer who was sitting beside him comes in and security comes out. So, I mean, this kind of makes like Tank Abbott look like a pussy because it would have been cool if he would have knocked out, it would have got, if McArthur wanted to go through it, they should have let Tank Abbott just fucking punch him. Just be like, all right, let's see what happens. But, I mean, he's probably a billionaire, but this is just a nothing angle. I'm tired of Tank Abbott. Goldberg doesn't return until Great American Bash, that I do know, Logan, because I did order that pay-per-view, and that's the one my parents said they weren't ordering that shit anymore for me.
Yeah. I'm surprised this guy, the owner of the Blackhawks, kind of signed up to do this. I was very shocked when that's who he ended up pulling to the ring. I kind of thought I knew they had panned to a couple of players earlier, and I didn't, I thought he might pull the other guy and then the enforcer guy comes in to kind of save him or whatever. But when he pulled the old man, I was kind of shocked. He must have been a big fan or something like that of WCW just in general. But yeah, definitely strange. And, it doesn't really do anything for Tank. He doesn't get to knock anybody out, which is kind of the thing that's, if anybody thinks he is cool, that's the thing that's cool about him is he knocks motherfuckers out and beats them up. So if he doesn't get to beat a motherfucker up, he's kind of useless. So yeah, definitely a weird one. there for sure, and kind of shocking that they got that guy to agree to get dragged into the ring, basically.
Yeah, I was shocked. Like, he had him about to power drive him and everything, and I was like, holy shit.
And you know, Tank, he's
So,
bound to fucking drop him on his head just because. Oh, whoops. Oh, sorry. You know, Tank's that
yeah,
type.
it's real bad. So when we go backstage and Hogan runs into Terry Taylor, who's like, I'm running late. It's like, dude, the show's got 30 minutes left. What the fuck are you doing? Who says Kidman is outside. Hogan goes outside. We have a commercial break. Then we see a road report from some guy I've never even seen before. And then added this in because it was funny, a nitrogirl.com website where they were talking about the Nitro Girls, and they showed Stacy Keibler as one of the Nitro Girls when she's already Miss Hancock. Like, I don't even think the Nitro Girls are around anymore. It's like, God, like, was there no quality control over here? So then we see Jeff and Russo. Russo said this guy is serious and wants to do the match. Jeff said, this was your idea. Russo says, let me think, please. And Jeff just gets angry and walks out. This leads us to match 4, which is Lex Luger versus Shane Douglas. And if Russo interferes, the tag titles change hands and go to Team Package. So the match starts and they circle each other, get a collar and elbow tie up. Luger forces Shane in the corner with his strength, but the ref tries to break it up. And when he does, Luger slams Shane into the turnbuckle and then rubs his eyes across the ring rope. Luger punches Shane in the corner and then kicks him. Luger Irish whips Shane and eats but when he rushes him, he eats a boot. Shane floats over a slam attack from Luger and hits a Russian leg sweep, and he starts choking Lex. Shane throws Lex into the corner, but Lex gets his boot up and hits Shane with the 2 clotheslines, then his flying forearm. Buff music hits, and he gets like a full fucking entrance for some reason, like a fucking buffoon, and it distracts Luger. Shane attacks Lex, and then he Irish whips Lex into the ropes. Buff grabs Lex's leg, and Luger turns around to punch Buff, but his elbow hits Shane, which I thought was a pretty good moment, Logan. I enjoyed that. Then while Shane's trying to recover, Lex starts choking Buff, but Shane gets up and hits Luger in the nuts. Shane throws Lex outside. Buff starts to stalk Liz. Shane throws Lex into a guardrail. Then we see a Sting fan who they think is Russo hit Shane with the bat. It's not Russo like last week, but it's Flair. Luger slams Shane. The ref calls for a DQ for some reason, and out comes Russo, and he pulls out Shane before they can do more damage. Russo screaming, screw you, Flair. Shane and Buff are mad that Russo didn't interfere, despite if he did, they would have lost the titles, which they knew about. So it's like more forced and bullshit, Logan. This was just a nothing match. Flair being dressed up as Sting was pretty funny. I had no recollection of that, obviously, as we've talked about, but just a nothing match. Like, Shane is pretty washed at this time, and Luger is Luger, as we've talked about, who's we like more in the entertainment segments, not wrestling.
Yeah, it ends up being kind of mid. I thought Luger brought it pretty hard in the early going. I thought he laid in some good strikes, did some good power moves to start the match, but it kind of settles in and becomes pretty mid and pretty basic. Obviously, Buff kind of turns the tides for Franchise in the middle of the ring. I believe the he gives Franchise or Douglas, what do you want to call him, gives him a low blow at one point. I think that's the DQ. I feel like the refs called for the bell in this show, and they did not get the bell to ring until at least 15 to 20 seconds after they rang for the bell. So I don't know.
Yeah, like he keeps like doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he keeps doing like the language, like this hand motion for it, and it's like, what the fuck is going on?
But yeah, kind of an interesting thing with Flair again. Gets him to hop from the crowd. This time in his biggest rival Sting's mask with the bat and all that, and takes out Douglas ahead of their match at the pay-per-view. So, but yeah, I thought it was effective to kind of build the tag feud going forward. But what kind of started as a good match for Luger kind of ended up being kind of mid and mostly pointless, just to kind of put over the program that they kind of have going forward.
Yeah, it was just horrible. Speaking of horrible, Logan, come back from commercial break. We see that thankfully they didn't have Hogan still walking to Billy, which would have been weird. We see them walking in the parking lot. Hogan's just whooping Billy's ass, and then Tori hits Hogan with a 2x4, and Hogan no sells it, and he starts stalking her, and he stalks her up against the column and is about to hit her, but Billy saves him. So I guess Hogan's the fucking heel. Billy gets maybe 3 seconds of offense, then Hogan's back to kicking Billy's ass. He's choking him with the shirt. We see Eric watching like a cuck. Hogan threatens to kill Billy and then picks him up in a press slam and throws him into the dumpster. Hogan stalks Eric. Eric gets in the Hummer, but for some reason it won't start, probably because he's a fucking moron. So Eric runs off like a bitch. Hogan gets in the Hummer. It magically starts. We see Kidman trying to get out of the dumpster, but Hogan driving the Hummer rams the dumpster. So Madden says Kidman may be dead, and then Hogan leaves after committing manslaughter. This was if you look up burial in the dictionary for wrestling, Logan, this is burial 101. I usually don't like people talking like that or podcasters, but my God, if you're supposed to have this big feud, you've made him look like a fucking joke. He has no credibility with the audience. None. Zip, zilch, nada. He looks like the biggest fucking buffoon. He's thrown into the trash, literally like garbage, and then ran with the Hummer and might be dead for all I know. Madden says, oh my God, he's dead. And this is supposed to be Hogan's big feud. No, actually his big feud's with fucking Eric, who also has a feud with fucking DDP. Guess what? Eric can't fucking wrestle, guys. So why are we doing these feuds? You can have them have Kidman can't speak, have Eric talk for Kidman. Don't have fucking Hogan have Kidman hit a shooting star press on him or something, But Hogan obviously didn't want to do that shit. It's fucking embarrassing. I feel bad for Kidman. He got the fuck Tori low, so I think it evens out in the end.
Yeah, that's the ultimate thing. He got to bang Tori, so it all works out in the end. But yeah, I mean, for a guy that helped you out in a bad situation, back at one of the previous pay-per-views we did where he wrestled the 3 matches, and really helped you out that night because that wasn't his spot originally. So, he really stepped up for you there and had 3 pretty solid matches from what memory serves. Well, one got kind of cut off a little early, but the other 2, he really worked his ass off in. But he seems like a guy that you would want to push, that he was kind of getting a push before this even started. If the idea is to get the new blood over, if the idea for Russo was that in the long run to get these guys over to kind of make them the new stars, he's doing a terrible job of this first show. Maybe that was by design. Maybe he wanted to kind of take them down so he could build them back up. But Imperial looked terrible. Kidman looked terrible. Ultimately, Awesome gets beat, though he looked good in his match. I don't really understand what they're trying to do with it because it seems like they're just despite the fact that the whole program is to get away from the Millionaires Club, you're really making the Millionaires Club guys look really, really good, and they're really beating the ass of these guys that you claim that you're trying to build up in their stead to kind of replace them. So I really kind of just don't understand the booking direction, and I'm not real sure Russo did either. So, but it is not and has not been effective throughout the night. So I don't know if, like I said, it's just to kind of tear him down to build him back up. But I'm fairly positive that doesn't work out for him if that was the plan.
No, it's just tearing him down. Not to build him back up. Just tear him down. Show that Hogan's number one. This is fucking ridiculous. It was just pathetic, Logan. Pathetic.
Yep.
It frustrates me to no end. I sent you a message. I was like, this motherfucker, and it's just so frustrating. So then have a commercial break. We go back what just happened, and we see EMT putting Kidman on the stretcher. I'm glad Kidman isn't dead. Obviously, we knew he wasn't, but what are we doing? So this leads us to our main event tonight, which is Jeff Jarrett versus Question Mark for the WCW World Heavyweight title. Jeff is out first. And then we see the person who signed the contract is Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner. He comes out with a bunch of beauties. They're already trying to say that New Blood is disintegrating. We're only a week in, as I've been talking about all night. Match starts with them circling each other. Then they get a collar and elbow tie-up, and Scott uses strength to knock Jeff into the corner. The ref tries to stop him, but Scott yells at the ref. Scott drops Jeff with the elbow and then picks him up and hits a gorilla press slam, but he just drops him. Scott sends Jeff in the corner, and then Jeff gets his boot up on Scott, and he starts kicking him. Jeff continues to stop a mud hole in Scott. Jeff gets on the middle rope and hits an axe handle on him. Jeff Irish whips Scott and hits him with an elbow. Jeff goes to the top rope and hits a crossbody that gets a 2 count. Jeff Lynn hits a dropkick on Scott, and then he does an Irish whip, but with Jeff. But when he tries to go over Scott, but Scott grabs him, hits a running power slam, like he tried to jump over him. And then Scott chokes Jeff in the corner. Scott hits a nice belly to belly on Jeff. This gets a 2 count. Jeff is able to stop Scott, but he gets a sleeper hold, but Scott breaks it literally immediately and hits Jeff in the nuts. Scott puts Jeff in the Steiner recliner. Then Booker T, for some reason, comes down and hits the axe kick to Jeff. And that's it. Disqualification. Like I said, despite disqualifications no longer happening, we see Booker pick up Jeff and says, "You're welcome, boy," and then walks off. This was a fun match. Made Scott look like a beast. I don't like the Booker stuff, but I guess this is him trying to get on Eric's good side, as we had seen, because he saves, the chosen one, Jeff Jarrett. But if I was Scott, I would leave the New Blood immediately, Logan. Because they took away his chance to win the world title, which he was about to fucking do. This was all Scott. Jeff got some hope spots, but Scott was just he was awesome. He looked like a future world champ in this match because of how great he looked.
Yeah, this is how you put over a kind of. I mean, he's obviously not a new guy; he's been around for a while, but kind of a new in the main event picture. This is how you present him, how you get him over. You let him beat the crap out of your chicken shit champion at the top. So really effective for building Scott Steiner into the main eventer that he will have to end up being in the near future. So really good stuff there. Like you said, it was a pretty good match before the Booker interference, which makes sense, but still feels kind of, whatever. If you're going to kind of go with the DDP Jarrett thing going forward, it would have been just as easy or just as probably effective to kind of have him go out and interfere. But obviously Booker's trying to get on the good side of the bosses for some reason, despite the fact that he probably should join Chronic and be one of the separatists that's not part of either group. But yeah, Steiner should absolutely leave the New Blood and be his own guy because he could kick everybody's ass and have no real problems doing so.
Yeah, and he's awesome. They should have made him world champ. Sorry, Jeff. I would have had Scott win. Just win the world title right there. Have Russo's known for the Survivor Series where Rock won. Just have Scott win it. You can have Jeff in the thing, and maybe you do the swerve since you're so on doing swerves that Scott was the real chosen one, and just do that in the finals.
Yep.
And yes, it makes Jeff a face, but fuck it. There you go. They could be like, hey, you were in Memphis. You were one of the good old boys in Memphis or something. Just do it like that, but have Scott as the unbeatable champ. I wouldn't take the world title off him until fucking Starrcade if they would have done that. But I think the title changes 15 different times between now and then, guys. So then we see Hogan still walking backstage. Like I said, it's the Hogan show tonight, guys. Yelling for Bischoff. We get a commercial break. We show highlights of last week for some reason. I don't know why. We got 2 fucking minutes left in the show, but they're showing highlights of what happened last night, not last week. We've already seen this twice. And then we see Hogan finally has Bischoff cornered backstage. Bischoff runs off and keeps running away from Hogan. Hogan chases Eric all the way to the ring. Eric is in the ring, and Hogan gets on the ring as well. Eric is trying to beg off. He's in the corner. But Hogan hits Eric in the nuts and that's how the show ends. Actually, it was a fake out. I guess Triple H was taking notes for NXT and Raw now because we saw the Chronon pop up. Russo starts walking down, and then Bret Hart comes out of nowhere, pushes Russo out of the way. He gets in the ring. He's holding the chair. The show goes off with Bret about to swing the chair. So who does Bret hit? Probably fucking no one. But that's how the show ends. And I've been told there's no Thunder this week, so we'll go to next Nitro, and we'll figure that out for our next episode. I'll read some observers to figure out why the hell there's no Thunder. But Not the best ending to Nitro, Logan. Like if that was their thing of like who did Bret hit, which I think they knew he was done for his career. So it's like why is he like this? So but I'm tired of Hogan. And I know I'm gonna say that, but I got till July with him.
Yeah, I mean it's a little overbearing. He was on the show at least eight to 10 times. I feel like, and yeah, Bret's done. Obviously, I don't know that they knew that at this point. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But just bringing him out, and then obviously he is gonna go away before this gets resolved in any shape, form, or fashion. So, just weird, just dumb. And leaving it on a cliffhanger doesn't really do much. I have a feeling he probably hit Hogan, but if he didn't and hit the other, it's just not effective whatsoever. I don't care about Bret Hart at this point because I know he's not going to stay around. So, and I don't care about Hogan because he should not be in this featured of a spot on a promotion in 2000. That's just not a thing that should happen. And I say that
not even close.
I say that, and he's WWE champion in 2002 in WWE. So, what do I know? But I feel like he's taking spots from guys that much more deserve it than him at this point. So, just no good.
Yep, it's fucking terrible. It just frustrates me to no end. Like I just don't even know what to say on that one. Like it's horrible.
Not good.
But yeah, let's roll through. Most absurd tonight. We have a lot to pick from. I'm gonna say Hogan being a Stone Cold ripoff.
I'm gonna go with Vampiro's weird stance during his promo for whatever reason.
Yep. What was good? I got Scott Steiner.
Yeah, Steiner. I thought Chronic was good. Maybe not so much the promo, but I thought the physicality was pretty solid.
Chronic beatdown. What was bad?
Too much Hogan.
Too much Hogan and New Blood already splitting up.
Yep. And just looking like losers in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. So we had 5 matches tonight, guys. Light on matches. 0 clean finishes, 5 non-clean non-finishes, 0 pole matches tonight. I was promised more pole matches. 5 pole matches overall, 1 gimmick match tonight. That leads us to 95 gimmick matches. Sorry. 0 guitar shots tonight. So I knew Jeff Jarrett even knew not to do that, hit Scott Steiner with it. So we're still at 30 total. 38 different things happen tonight. We're still at 44 different title changes. And I definitely feel like we're smarter than Vince Russo's WCW, Logan.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. It's just terrible booking 101 on this one. Just not good at all. And as much hope as I feel like we had with the reset, I think it's pretty quickly dissolved.
Yeah, they did a great job of fucking killing it. Like, just splendid job, Logan. Like,
it's not my fault. I'm just kidding.
I know, but it's just like, my God. But I guess what that brings us to an end of another episode of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? He's Logan Crossland. I'm Scott Shufflett. We'll see you in 2 weeks with another Nitro. So we'll see what it brings. It's title in the network. We'll see where Bret Hart's loyalties lie. So there we go. Peace.
Yep. Bye.